Hey there, Alex from East to West Hunts here. Today I wanted to go over a review of this Kuiu Mountain Star. So I've been fortunate to use this bad boy for the past few seasons and really have gotten the ins and outs of it. So today I just want to take you through the in-depth, the nitty-gritty, the inside of it. I'll give you some of the pros and cons in my opinion, and you make the decision if this is a good fit for you for what you're looking to do potentially on your next hunt. So let's get rolling here. This is a 3-season tent. One thing to know about 3-season tents, a lot of times their fabric is going to be a little bit lighter than the 4-season tents. It's also going to give you a little bit more air, so you're going to have a little bit more I guess gap here in between the ground and the tent. This is a double wall tent. If you don't know what a double wall tent is, it means that basically you have a fly. So this is going to be covering the inside of the tent. This is also a double vestibule tent. So you have a vestibule here, you have a vestibule on the other side, and you're going to zip this up. Now you can put gear in here or so on and so forth, which is fantastic. You also have the ability to wrap this up and tie it up. Pardon the blue jay in the background losing his mind. Now you got these little strings essentially that you can loop through and thread to. I don't know what the hell they're really called, but essentially you got them on both sides, so you can do it on both flaps on both vestibules. This is really nice. I will say this is a very, 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 very nice feature that I use a lot because I do like to cover my gear at night. And I will say it does keep it a little bit warmer as well in regards to your heat dissipating, you know, when you're breathing inside, and helping stuff not necessarily freeze as much overnight, which has happened. So with that, you have 3 poles. The poles are external, which is interesting. So you've got the external points. So you got these 2, and then you got this 3rd one on top here. Now, the kicker, these have an interesting way of, I guess, putting the tent together. And you got these clips. These clips cross over, and they're supposed to help with wind, which I will tell you, they do a fantastic job of, actually. You do have guy out lines that come with it, and then you also have this little nifty, I'd call it the condensation helper, right? So this is basically a window if you think about it, but you got a little tiny Velcro piece and a little stick in there. And if you're really, really cold and you don't want the wind in, don't open it up. However, I will tell you, it does help with the breathability and the condensation inside. And I, for the most part, will always have these open. I don't use the guy out lines all that much. Actually, I don't think I've used these at all. I've attached separate guy out lines to it. The typical setup is you have basically 6 points of contact to get it up. So you got the 4 in the corners, and then you got the 2 for the vestibules. That's pretty much it. If you want to add it for the guy lines, you can. So let's do another little tour here. I'll walk you around with the camera. You can see what all this looks like. So gives you a pretty good idea of what you got going on. Let's go inside and check it out now, because I did put a sleeping pad in there to give you an idea of what it looks like, since this is a 2-person tent. So let's open this bad boy up. Do the same thing here. And let's go inside and check it out. Okay, so as you can see here, you got a 1 zipper. This wants to go. And then again here you can do the same exact thing with your little loop here. Trying to do this one-handed is not fun, I will say that. Can we add that as a negative? Is that a negative? Maybe. Give me a single left-handed option to doing this. Ah, forget it. All right, we're gonna go in. Okay. So, let's talk about this. You have little pockets, okay? So you got pockets in each corner, which is, I think, pretty cool. You have a little zipper here. The zipper is for your little window, for you to basically do the window from the inside if you forget to do it outside, right? So I've done this before. I'm in my sleeping bag or my quilt, and the last thing I want to do is get out of it to go on the outside to open up the window, because I'm realizing it's kind of stuffy inside. So that's a big win of this. The other thing is, this tent has what they call a gear shelf, and you essentially purchase this. You can purchase it separately. I do know it comes in a kit, but let me give you a look at this as well. So here's the gear shelf. You can just put stuff in here. You got a nice little logo, and that logo will glow in the dark at night. Leave it to Kuiu to do all the cool little fancy stuff. But that's in a nutshell the tent. So it's constructed well. It puts up in the wind really, really well. I've never had it leak. You know, it's seam sealed. So that's a big one. If you're not familiar with seam sealing, I'll show you what the seam sealing looks like. So in the case that you have a different tent, you can see if it's done right or not. You can see how it's almost like taped over any of the holes. So any of the threading here that has been, essentially a needle has gone through, they tape it. That's a seam seal. So that means there's no water coming through. Okay, you also can purchase a footprint for this. So I don't have the footprint up right now. I do use it. It's part of my kit, and I have it in the bag. But for purposes of just kind of showing you, that's the case. So this is called a 2-person tent. Now, in my experience, this is all marketing. A 1-person tent is it's a coffin. It's just like a bivvy at that point to me. But if you have vestibules, it's cool because you can still put stuff and cover it, right? Which I think is a perk. With that, a 2-person is a 1-person with gear. A 3-person is a 2-person with gear. But to give you an idea, I put this sleeping pad in here, and I want you to see, what you would say to this point if you think this is a 2-person or not. Okay, so I got my pad in here, and I'm gonna lay down. Okay, you can see I'm about 5'10". Okay, I got a little bit of room here, and my feet, I'll show you, are, I don't know, I got maybe 3 inches, 4 inches, nothing crazy. So could you fit another person in here? Yeah, you could. You can fit another person in here, but it would be so freaking tight. I mean, just think about it. You like to have your room and space. And this tent is going to be with footprint, and I got the aluminum poles. You can purchase carbon, but it's gonna run you, let's just call it less than 4 pounds, okay? Because depending on what kind of stakes you run, and if you're gonna do the footprint, or you're gonna have the footprint and you're gonna have aluminum stakes, that all changes your weights. So let's get out of the tent, and let me talk about some of the pros and cons here. So one of my favorite things about this is the space and the 2 vestibules, and it's a great tent. I really do love it. I don't know if you can see, but I punctured a hole in it. I put some tape on it. It's been perfectly fine, but the construction of it is solid. Again, I've never had any leaks, and it just does a really, really good job. One of my pain points of this tent is actually the setup. The way that it's set up is it's a cross setup with these 2 poles. And I gotta tell you, I don't care how many times I put it up, right? It's like I get to a designated camp spot and I put it up, it's dark out or whatever the case is, and I feel like I'm fumbling around because it's just unusual with the cross point. So I've had to like talk to myself of essentially put it and follow the seams. Follow the seam, and when it hits the cross seam, I know I gotta go over and back. And I'll show you a close-up of this so you can see what I'm talking about, but it is just confusing. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just dumb, but it's just funky in the setup. It's just not the easiest thing for me, but once you get it up, it's great. The other thing that's killer is it's an external frame setup, which means that you can put up the tent, it can be raining, and then you can put up the poles and you don't get any water inside of your tent, where other tents are setting it up and you got the mesh, then you got to put the fly over the poles and the mesh, and if it's raining, it's going to be technically raining inside your tent, and that's a sucky thing, right? You don't want to be wet. So that's really a pro and a con, truly, right? The setup of the external is great, but the setup itself with the poles and the cross sectioning, to me, just funky. But I get the purpose of it, and I understand, you know, why they're trying to set it up that way. So let me give you a close-up of these cross points, and you can see what I'm talking about. Right, so you see how it crosses, right? Crosses right here. That part, it's crossing, but it's going here. And then you're going up, and here's what I talk about with the seam, where the seam crosses. Now I know I gotta go opposing. Well, kind of funky, right? And maybe it's just me, but I have a hard time with it. So anyway, so if you're looking for a backpacking tent, this is a very, very good one. It's not the most ultralight tent on the planet, but it's sturdy. It's gonna last you forever. It's spacious. It's got 2 vestibules. It's got 4 pockets. You got the clothes hanger inside, or the gear shelf. You got some nifty features to it, and it's just gonna last you a long time, which you really just can't complain about. So take a look at it. I'm gonna have the links posted below for the actual product itself. Check it out. If you purchase it, please use the link. It helps me out with doing these videos. If you enjoyed this video or you got something out of it, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna continue pumping out gear reviews and hunts and so on and so forth. And don't forget that East to West Hunts is a tag application and hunt planning service. So if you need anything of that nature and helping you get tags or application processes, so on and so forth, or planning your hunt, or even renting gear, reach out. Check out www.easttowesthunts.com. Book a free consult on there. Let's talk and let's get you going towards the hunt of your lifetime. So needless to say, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, remember to scout, hunt, and repeat. Thanks.